Absolute dynamite. Oh my goodness.
This is Mohammed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global in Brentwood. Massive show on Sky Sports tomorrow. Your man Stephen Ward on the bill. Yeah, how are you feeling about him facing Bolotniks, and do you know much about him?
Yeah, only from what I've seen, obviously what we can get hold of on YouTube and stuff. You know, looks strong, solid, in good form recently. You know, he's had a few losses in the past, but it looks like he's improved since there. So, you know, you've got competitions like this can bring the best out of people. So you have to really give him, you know, treat him with a lot of respect. Stylistically, I think he's suited for Stevie. You know, obviously in situations like this, we always talk about, you know, if you're in a position where you get the choice, who you're going to pick. And I think he was one of the ones who suited Stevie best style-wise. Come on, get out of the way.
You're right.
You're in the way. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. You know, he ended up getting second pick, and we sort of wanted Bolotnik, to be honest. It was one of the ones what we said, you know, if we get the opportunity, we'll pick him. So yeah, it all worked out well.
Obviously disappointing to have a loss, it is for anyone. But the Conroy fight, I mean, for Liam, obviously it was devastating, but that fight for both of them, their stock rose. I think it was a great fight, and that rematch might happen. Obviously, Stephen's got to come through Saturday. Liam's got to come for Andre Sterling, which is no given as well for both of them. But that is a rematch that could happen, and it would be great to see again.
Of course, it could, and you know, I think on paper it's a great rematch for the fans. The first fight was just so exciting. It was one of the best fights I've been privileged to be in the corner for. But you know, in an ideal world, from a selfish point of view, we'd like that as the final. But you're talking about a competition where there's 4 or 5 people who can potentially win it. You know, and it's very dependent on the luck of the draw and who you get. I mean, I sort of spoke it into existence while we was away in Vegas talking about this, and we spoke about Bolotnik, and we'd probably pick him if we got the opportunity. And I said, you know, Bob Hadji-South is an awkward customer. Jose Burton is probably one of the danger men who you'd want to try and avoid until later on in the competition.
I think he's favourites with the bookies, Jose.
Yeah, and I said, in an ideal world, those two would box each other, and you get rid of one of them. And then, as fate would have it, they was the last 2 people, and he was left down to that. So it's just one of them things. Anything can happen. I'm glad Stephen's got the opportunity. He's in great form. He's made the weight well, and yeah, he's really excited about it.
Yeah, coming off a good win against Liam Conroy. So if he can do the business on Saturday night, and I know it's a long way away, but if he does win this tournament on a huge platform, ESPN in America, Sky Sports here, MTK putting this on, he's going to go on to massive things.
Life changing. And listen, I'm not just saying it because Stephen's in it and from that point of view, but when you look at all the opportunities what all these fighters are getting and the 3 different weight categories what they've got, it's a fantastic concept. It makes it a little bit more interesting. It's just something a little bit new. It seems like they've plucked a few little ideas from the Contender over the years and the World Boxing Super Series, and took all the best little bits and put it all together in one competition. So I've got a feeling that this is going to be one of them things which is long standing. It'll go on for years, and it'll give people the opportunity. You know, I've always been a big believer in, you get to a sort of 14, 15 fight stage, you've done your apprenticeship, and if you've had a proper few tests along the way, it stands you in better stead. And I think this is going to be a testament to people who've been brought along properly and been matched a little bit tougher will probably come through this competition better than the ones who've been padded records and you know, been gifted opposition.
Well, if you're in America, tune in to ESPN Plus, UK, Sky Sports tomorrow. Moving on to Carl Frampton. How's his hand, firstly?
Like broken biscuits by the sound of it. No, we sort of had an idea that it'd probably go because of the short time frame in between, and you know, smaller gloves. We really had to wrap him in cotton wool during training camp just to make sure he got through it. But he was adamant he wanted to box before Christmas. He didn't want to have to train over Christmas. He didn't want the training camp from the summer to go to waste. So we did. We managed it, and it wasn't easy work by any stretch of the imagination. But we got there. He had a few problems even the week before with it. He was niggling and stuff like that. So I've got to give him massive credit for the way he dealt with the situation and the performance he put in on the back of all those things niggling in his mind was fantastic. And it's looking like it could be Herring. Fingers crossed they can get that over the line. And it's again, that's a tough fight. It's not an easy fight. He's a big guy and he's a southpaw. Brings lots of problems, but Carl Frampton. He's an elite level fighter, and he's capable of winning that fight and going down in history.
Well, Carl was adamant to me in Vegas that he's not overlooking Tyler McCreary, and it was clear that he wasn't because his display was so dominant. As you said, everyone's now talking about the Jamel Herring fight. Both guys were top ranked, so it should be easy to make. Carl is no secret, needs to be fighting for world titles now at the stages in his career. Herring has one. Also, Herring has said that he's open to coming to Belfast, so that would be great. It makes
sense because Carl's the draw in the sense of dragging in revenue and people bums on seats, so it makes sense for both of them. Like you say, Carl's performance was that of someone who's 31, 32, his career is on the line, whereas if he was 26, 27, it'd have probably been one of them performances where you would go with he's overlooked him and he's tried to look good and tried to blast him out, whereas he used the experience, but also coupled with that, he put in a performance which said, if I slip up here, my career's finished. So it was a solid display. He went through the gears. His body punching was fantastic. He's really come on over the last couple of years, and he's set it up nicely for what will be a huge night if he can get that pulled off in Belfast.
I bet he was glad to have his fight before Christmas as well, because there was rumours of him fighting in January. Yeah, potentially.
Exactly, and that's why we really tried. And we saw. I mean, you're talking days. We saw days either way with his hand and stuff like that. So, credit to MTK and Top Rank for sort of granting him his wish. And you've got to look at it in the sense that could have gone the wrong way, and he could have maybe banged his hand up and not been out of box, and then. That really wouldn't have been good. So they had faith in us, and luckily it came off for us.
Just lastly, Jamie, I want to get your thoughts on a fight in Saudi Arabia last week. Anthony Joshua got his belts back from Andy Ruiz. How do you see the heavyweight picture after that night, and what do you make of Joshua's performance?
I thought he boxed brilliantly. I put a post out on Twitter the next day saying you can't please people. He literally. Fought a great game plan, boxed it to a T, never got involved. All the mistakes he made in the first fight, he avoided. If he'd have made those same mistakes again, people would call him stupid. Yet, when he doesn't make those mistakes, people say he was running scared.
That was more of a casual audience saying that, wasn't. I think people in boxing really gave him credit.
I do. But I was venting off about going through my timeline. So it's obviously the people I follow, just giving him loads of stiff grief. So I thought it was a great game plan. I always said he should never get rid of Rob McCracken. I thought he was he's the brains behind him. You always have somebody you gel with and who's made for you as a trainer. I think them two go really well together. So for me, he's back as the number one heavyweight. I think do I think he's the best? And if they had a round robin between Wilder and Fury, do I think he'll come out on top? Probably not. I think Fury's the best out of them. I think I believe he beat Deontay Wilder, and I think he is. But when you're looking at results and who's beat who, if you look at the top 10 heavyweights or the top 15 or whatever, AJ's got more wins of those opponents than Wilder and Fury. So, again, it's just opinions, and I'd have to rate him as number one at the moment because he's just reversed that loss to Ruiz, and Tyson got a draw with Wilder on paper. But if you're asking me who I think is the best, then I think Fury's the best.
Yeah, away from paper, you think, in terms of talent-wise and skill, Fury's number one?
I think Fury's number one, and I think if they all boxed each other, I think Fury and Wilder rematch in February, I think Fury comes out on top. Obviously, all being he walks into one of them big right hands, which is not out of the question. But You know, I think AJ could beat Wilder. I think Wilder could beat AJ. I think Fury outboxes them both.
Okay. Listen, Jamie Moore, thank you very much for your time here in Brentwood. Best of luck with Wardy tomorrow night, and I'll catch you word after, all right?
Cheers, mate.
He is special.